Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to this webinar. This is John Johnson, one of the top leaders of My Daily Choice with Team Global Dynasty Network. And tonight we will be going over what network marketing is, and we will dive into why I chose My Daily Choice specifically. So before we get into all that, let me share with you my story and what I was doing before I found network marketing. I'm 20 years old and grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. At the age of 5, my parents separated, and due to my mom's lack of financial intelligence, in 2011, the house I grew up in was foreclosed on, which was definitely a punch to the gut, but it developed a desire to succeed financially that is unmatched. I just didn't have a path at such a young age to succeed financially. My father was successful in the Atlantic City Fire Department, retiring in 2014 as deputy chief, and his best financial advice was to read Think and Grow Rich. But at the time, I didn't even read the books that I was supposed to read in school. So after I graduated, I made the decision to go to my local community college with the plan to major in business, because I knew that most successful people owned businesses. But I also knew I didn't need a degree to be successful. So I knew what to do, but I didn't know how to do it, which made me feel uncertain about my future for sure. But 2 weeks later, I was approached on campus by two kids who were overly excited, and my first thought was, what are you trying to sell me? Luckily, they introduced me to someone who knew what they were talking about, and that person was Brian Jacobs. Brian was a full-time personal trainer and was making an extra $1,000 a month part-time. So I thought what he was doing was a scam of some sort. But after I was out of questions to ask, trying to prove to him that it was a scam, I was convinced that it was worth the risk of just $150 to get started. But what I didn't know at that time was how much that $150 would change my life. So before I get into network marketing, let's discuss what's happening in the working world today. I think the biggest problem with the world today is that financial education is not taught in our school system. On top of that, student loan debt is bigger than credit card debt. And the worst thing about student loan debt is that it's never forgiven. Even if you declare bankruptcy, you still have to pay that debt. So, on top of all that, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in 2012, 44% of college graduates were working in jobs that didn't require a college degree. And only 36% of that group were in what researchers called good non-paying or good non-college jobs, paying around $45,000 a year. I think we can all agree that, yes, college is a good investment, but doesn't mean that you will succeed financially. The only way to create your own economy and control your income is to become an entrepreneur. 70% of Americans would love to be their own boss. The only problem is they don't know how to do it, because all the traditional options they know are simply too risky. One, they could buy an existing business, but most existing businesses that are for sale are failing, and that's why they want to sell them. Two, you could buy a franchise, which has its perks, but also can be very expensive to get started. And if you look at McDonald's, it's $1 million to open the doors, but also you have to work there for an extended period of time first. And I think that, if you're watching this, you're like me, you don't really want to work at McDonald's. 3, you could start something from scratch. We all watch the show Shark Tank or have heard of it and see people try and pitch their ideas. Some of them are crazy and some of them are pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's not a necessarily guaranteed way of building an income. So 4, you could become an investor, but the problem is it requires a lot of knowledge, is very risky. And my point is, venture capitalists on average fail on 10 out of every 11 businesses that they invest in. So that requires a lot of money, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you don't have a lot of money, and you're looking for a way to create an income. So, those are the 4 traditional routes, and it all adds up to just too much risk for most people. But what if there was a way that you had all the comfort aspects of being an entrepreneur and could still control your own life, and you didn't have to create the product? There was everything that you needed except an employer. I think that most people would succeed in that environment. Becoming an entrepreneur is a safer route than being an employee. And we had just mentioned, the 4 traditional ways of starting your own business. But we didn't mention the one untraditional path that a lot of people all around the world are doing. And that path is starting your own business through the creation of a network marketing business. So here it is. Here is what network marketing is in a nutshell. Network marketing is using a large group of independent entrepreneurs to move a product or service more efficiently. According to Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, network marketing is business school for entrepreneurs. A traditional business will spend up to 50% of revenue on marketing. Network marketing uses independent distributors to do the marketing for them. So you might ask, why? Why do they do that? Well, here are some reasons. 1, word of mouth advertising. Word of mouth advertising is so much more effective today than traditional advertising. Why is that? Because there's so much information coming at us. Most of the time, we make buying decisions based off what our friends recommend. 2, some products need to be explained or demonstrated by an independent salesperson who can do that more effectively than an ad campaign. And 3, it's more efficient. The company only pays for the marketing of their product of a sale once it happens and not before. So imagine if Amazon allowed you to become an independent distributor and paid out 40% of its revenue to that distributor group, and all you had to do was recommend a product, and if a person bought it on Amazon, Amazon would take care of all the logistics and you get paid for bringing in that customer. Now, imagine if you got paid for every purchase that customer made for the rest of their lives. Amazon doesn't offer this option, but network marketing companies do. So the distributor gets all the benefits of owning a traditional business without all the risk, because network marketing allows you to build your own network of other distributors and compensates them on sales created by that group. So essentially, everyone gets to build a sales team from day one, and if they produce, they get paid, and if they don't produce, they don't get paid. But here's the deal. People are getting paid all throughout the world. Network marketing is a $178 billion industry, which is bigger than the music industry, which is bigger than the movie industry. And the music industry does about $16 billion a year, and the movie industry does about $80 billion a year. Network marketing pays out, on average, $71 billion a year in commissions. That's $200 million a day. That's crazy. 96 million people are involved throughout the world in network marketing. And according to a recent study, 82% of people report a successful experience with network marketing. But there's a catch. The catch to network marketing is that most people still don't understand it. So you're going to have to embrace a temporary loss of self-esteem from ignorant people. In the beginning, you will do a lot of things that you don't get paid for. But as you keep going and you keep getting better, you end up getting paid for a lot of things that you don't do. And here's another thing. It's emotional. It's challenging. It takes time. You must commit to becoming a professional. But I promise you, it's worth it. So now, let's go into my daily choice and what my daily choice has to offer.